It is Monday, which means we go over the week in Blue Jackets action, and they've only actually played 2 games since our last review. Starting with Tuesday in Pittsburgh against the Penguins, they have an overtime loss, 5-4, blowing a 4-0 lead. This was Merzlikins versus Jarry, although it wouldn't end up with those goalies in net at all. The Blue Jackets starting out as a house of fire, a second unit power play goal from Bemstrom after some nice movement of the puck there by that power play. Lane Peterson would then get his second as a Blue Jacket, and Laine would score after a nice play by Roslovic, making the lead 3-0 after the first period. And then in between the first and second periods, Elvis would go out, and he would be out for the rest of the game with what was deemed as an illness. Although with Brad Larson saying that he bowed out, it sounded like Elvis kind of maybe had an emergency bathroom situation that he just didn't get back in time from, and Aiden Hutchinson would come in. And at first it didn't seem to matter as Liam Foudy would score early in the second, but then the doors kind of started open for Pittsburgh coming back a little bit. After that goal by Foudy, Jarry would be pulled forward to Smith. Zucker getting Pittsburgh on the board after getting a goal from in close midway through the second period. No more scoring in this period, but the Penguins did seem to kind of have a little bit of momentum on their side despite trailing 4-1. And into the mere seconds of the third period, we have Guentzel scoring. And then after that point, Jackets fans who've been watching this team for any length of time knew that we might be in for a rough ride after the Penguins start to get some steam going. Zucker with his second one, who got it within 1, and then Danton Heinen would get the score to within even. Well, not within even. It was even within the same minute. So a 4-1 lead gone within the blink of an eye, less than 5 minutes into the period, and a 4-0 lead in general squandered. The game would settle down after that, and we went into overtime with 4 apiece. Boone Jenner getting hit with a penalty in the overtime, and a Sidney Crosby one-timer past Aiden Hutchinson pretty much was all she wrote for this one. This was the second straight year that the Blue Jackets have had a 4-goal lead in a game and have ended up losing. They blew a 4-0 lead against the Oilers as well, or a 4-goal lead at least, but they ended up winning that one. But they lost this one. They had a 4-0 lead against Carolina, I believe on New Year's Day last year. They ended up losing as well. So a consecutive season streak of blowing 4-goal leads and then losing the game, not good for Blue Jackets hockey in general. Hopefully this is a streak that ends at 2 seasons. So then you head to Saturday's game back at home against the St. Louis Blues. Not going to be a lot of home games in March. Elvis went home to Latvia in between the Penguins game and the Blues game upon hearing news that his grandmother was very sick, and Elvis Merzlikins' grandmother has passed on today, and that's heartbreaking for him and the Merzlikins family. My condolences go out to him in what's just been kind of a rough few years for Elvis Merzlikins personally, and then just how that's going to progress later on, who has any idea. So in this game, it was Hutchinson's versus Greiss. Daniil Tarasov getting called up from Cleveland. Brandon Saad scoring the fourth goal because, of course, he did. Why wouldn't he score the first goal of this game? Laine responding with a power play goal off of a really nice pass from Johnny Gaudreau in that one. But then the Blues' upper-level talent getting the better of the rest for the rest of the first period. It would be Jordan Kyrou and Sammy Blais scoring for the Blues, giving them a 3-1 lead after the first period. No scoring in the second, with Blue Jackets with some pretty good opportunities, but Greiss was up to the task. And then early out in the third period, the Jackets came out guns blazing. I feel like the early period shot lead for the Jackets was like 16-2 or something crazy like that. But again, Thomas Greiss was putting on a show in this one, and then Jordan Kyrou would score again to pretty much steal the game away. Although the Jackets did pull Aiden Hutchinson quite early, and Boone Jenner got a deflection goal on the 6-on-5. But Jordan Kyrou would get an empty net goal as well to complete a hat trick for him, and that's how you get with the final score of 5-2. So not a good week for the Blue Jackets all around. I suspect a lot of these weeks are going to be like this moving forward. I was saying back in January when the Jackets were winning a lot more games consistently and fans were getting a little concerned that they might screw up their own tank, I kept saying, look at the schedule in March. They aren't going to continue winning, even at the kind of a little bit over 500-ish rate that they were winning for a little bit there in January. And so far, that's held true. The Jackets have just kind of been squandering around for pretty much the entire month. They have a really tough stretch of road games coming up. I think it's 8 of the next 9 games are on the road or something insane like that because Columbus is hosting some of the March Madness. So if the Jackets continue to put up stuff like this, they should obviously be no issues with landing a high draft pick, although they do have a game against the San Jose Sharks, who have plummeted in the standings as of late. I think they are tied with Chicago for being 31st, so next to the Jackets, they're only 3 points The Jackets only 3 points behind them, and the Jackets actually do have a couple games in hand, I believe. So this game coming up against the Sharks, you can view it as very important for the tank. If the Jackets get a win over the Sharks, then maybe the Sharks start to threaten for grabbing that top spot, top odds for Connor Bedard over the Jackets. But in general, for the Blue Jackets in this week, bad week, plenty more of bad hockey to come before this season can finally mercifully end, and hopefully the lottery can bring some good bounces to the Blue Jackets' way, although that hasn't historically been the case for them. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far into the video, I will see you at the next one.